gonna go for a quick ride, see how this microphone setup works. Hopefully it'll be better than the last time. So I am riding a 2000, there's a shotgun shell, SV650. And I love this bike, I really do. It's one of my first bikes, and I'm still getting better at riding and whatnot. It's been very reliable. It's got really consistent torque, but it's not overpowering or unpredictable. What happened to this guy? Jeez. I'm trying to think of things I really don't like about this bike, and it's easier to think of all the things I like about it than come up with things that I don't like about it. You know, it doesn't have that scream of an inline 4 or that higher end power. You know, the SV has a great sound to it still. Yeah, I rode on my buddy's 2003 F4i CBR 600, and that was one of my first times on a 600, and it felt so weird because down low the torque on the SV is like, you know, from a stoplight it just pulls you, you know. Not that I've been on an 1000 or anything, so I can't really compare it to that, but as far as just, you know, like an older 600, it just, the torque is immediately there. And a buddy of mine who also rides a 2-cylinder, he kind of described it as around town it's better because you got the low end torque and it pulls nice. On the highway though, inline 4 can be a lot better, can be superior. I was gonna ride with my buddy who's got the CBR 600, but I think he was still at work. Another thing I like about the SV, when you have to change the oil, it's freaking easy. There's no fairings you got to take off. They sell the actual oil filters at like a local auto parts store. I don't think it makes a big difference whether you get like a Suzuki or, you know, as long as you have a decent oil filter. So yeah, it's super easy to change the oil on it. Another thing I like about the SV, it's simple. You know, clutch, highs and lows, which are, you know, great, but very bright. Clutch, turn signals, horn. And up here you can set the, you know, odometer and the, which I am gonna need gas sometime soon, but so I just passed a cop who's pulled me over before, so I'm like looking back at him. I'm not really speeding, but yeah, I was coming back around this time. I want to say it was like on a Saturday, and going on some back roads, so I had earphones in. I didn't hear him when he had his sirens on. I don't know, guys, why can't you just run on the sidewalk? There's a sidewalk over there, and it's perfectly acceptable. I guess maybe this is some sort of run, but another thing I love about the SV, clutch is it's not too grabby. It doesn't just fall into place at a certain point. It's very predictable. Another thing I like, and some people don't like, is my front brake is real spongy. It grabs hard. It doesn't have a problem stopping the bike whatsoever. But it's very spongy, so I can make a very easy stop and not a jerk, you know. Especially if I've got a passenger, I can make a stop and it not come to a jerk. I can make it very smooth. On other bikes I've ridden, it's very sharp. Like my buddy's 2013 Monster, Ducati Monster, his brakes are just so grippy. And I'm guessing higher rates of speed, that would be better. the brakes on this sucker. What's cool about this park is all through here, there's lots of different bike trails and walking trails. You could spend hours going through here, and there's a lot of really cool stuff. Like there's like this ramp in this one area you can kind of do a little jump on, and it's great for mountain biking here. I mentioned my buddy has a 13 Ducati Monster 696, I think. Very soon after I got this bike, I had ridden his, and I hated it. And it wasn't god awful, it was just everything about the bike I didn't like. And honestly, at this point, I'm surprised he got the bike. But like I said, the front brakes were just way too grabby. I mean, they were, you know, it's great, yeah, it'll stop you, but like it's way too grabby to the point where you could put a finger on it and just bam, you know, fall off your bike. Brakes were too grabby. The clutch, the gear shifting, and the switches, like the turn signal switches, were small and they were cheap. And when you press them, it felt pretty dinky. I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't a good feeling to it. Who knows? They might be trying to conserve weight and, you know, every way possible. But it was just very disappointing. I got off the bike and I was like, holy cow! I would never buy this bike, even if it was cheaper than the one I have right now. You know. But there's just it sucked. And he's actually having issues with it. Running a ride, and he'll be going down the road full tank of gas and it starts dying on him, just weird stuff. But yeah, just for a 2013 Ducati with half as many miles as I have on this bike, you shouldn't have any issues, right? So maybe Ducatis aren't the best, and it could just be that year or whatever. I honestly don't know if that was, maybe they redesigned the bike in 2013. I'm not really sure, but just disappointing, you know. 2013 Ducati, half as many miles as this bike, and it's also another thing I like about a bike like this. It's easy to work on. It's relatively easy to get parts. The whole brake pads for the front and back is like $20. This is $20. This is $20. Past weekend, a buddy of mine helped me fix 2 holes, or plug 2 holes in my rear tire. First time I've had any, it wasn't a flat, thankfully. I was able to notice it while I was riding and then pull over and be like, oh shoot, my tire needs some air, but I caught it before it was anything too serious. Alrighty, that is the SV. Got a few little things with it. Nothing cracked off when I got it. A little ball here on the end of the clutch. I'm assuming previous owner dropped it. Needs a new front tire soon. Besides that, it's pretty clean. Paint's a little scuffed up here and there. But yeah, she's a good bike.